And I put Paz and search and rescue in Vietnam, very much like Ron did. In fact, we did it together on a few missions. This was back in the last century. So, what I'm going to do is give you a brief that I actually, this is also in that tree when I was working at the weapons school at the contractor. I was kind of hooked up with the N division, and they wanted to, what they found out at the Skyraiders in Vietnam, they wanted me to build an academic presentation on search and rescue and how we did it. And I was pretty sure there wasn't a lot of commonality in between what we're doing and what differs are different at day and night, literally. Because they don't go up in the day now, they go at night. So, but there are some similarities. There's a lot more than I thought. You got to find the guy. You got to determine his help, able to help himself, the threat, authenticate, make sure it's safe for the pickup bird, and then do it. So that hasn't changed in the 50 years since we put these missions. So let's go ahead with the briefs. I'll take you through it, and let's hit the next slide. Good to go. All right. Say my background on the car.
Yeah, yes.
Got it. All right. Yeah, 24 years. I stayed in after my Skyraider time. First Jedi closed the F-100, so just for training. I was supposed to go to Vietnam, but not so fast. I got switched to the Skyraider. And Buck, are you in the crowd?
Yeah. Back center.
All right. Anyway, Buck Buchanan, who was kind of extra rough wayman on the Roger Walker pickup. He was my roommate, and we went to Polytran together, F-100 together, Skyraiders together. So a great band and good pal. Went to Corsairs after that, A7Ds, Tiger 2s, F5s, F Willie, 4 years, 1,000 hours. Gotta love that. And then Vipers. In the early days, the Black Nose, Block 1, quoted airplane. All but one single-piece, single engine, and I love it. The best thing about my resume is that I never flew the F4, even though it was active the entire time I was flying jets. So, done that. My only pun is during that time, date is it, one day, 13 October, same day in 72. So, things happened during that year, as you guys probably know from reading your history books. The Easter invasion of 72, linebacker. So I had 138 missions, 17 over the north, about a dozen fires, and several missions where I came back with foals that I never knew I had. Well, just a little whimsical look at what could have been, and we came within about 5 years of having this be a great team to go do SAR or any other mission for that matter. This is a specially modded bird at the weapons school, just for this exact photo. So, great time in there. This Aotech, the me, the Lanshaw will wing at one of our bishops at North. All right, I usually like to take a look at what I was doing on the day that I agree. Well, here we go. Well, October, 49 years ago, 1976, my final mission, my Finney Point in the Skyraider, mission number 138, flying up cup to A1H791. Text, are you the audience?
I'm here. I'm gonna keep you honest.
Oh, yeah. I think you and Willie P were the morning Sandies, and you did not fly because I think for three of us it was the Finney flies. So we all took off as a four-ship in the afternoon. Tex and Willie P Kramer, who actually went hanging around for a while yet after we left, were 1 and 2, and I took off with Tex, Buck Buchanan on my wing. He was number 4. So somewhere during the mission, we switched lead. I think it was because I had the camera and nobody else did. We got a few good shots all on the left as we were orbiting, waiting for an airstrike. Can see my right wingtip there down in the corner of the glide. And then on the way back, lap flight, fun setting in the west, we were headed back home. Great mission, nothing notable. A 4-ship strike, though, was for us pretty unusual. We almost always, without exception, operated in pairs. Good pictures, but it was a great time. So let's get on with the brief. Next slide. Take a look at the Fanny mission. That what was going on is Southeast Asia for search and rescues. For those of you that flew the Skyraider way before I did, I'm talking about 1971, 72. So beg your pardon on that. It is a little different. Use different pickup platforms. NOLA, Pagerous, and chilling because you guys are flying bat faces for rolling thunder, and I don't envy anybody doing that little trick with no ejection piece and just out there hoping for the best and planning for the worst. So our team was AK-53 Super Jollies doing the pickups. And those guys were the real deal. AC-130 King was always had their finger in the pie, usually not to our benefit, but quite often it did work out. They got close, but not awfully close. They did refuel the helicopters, so they were closer than I guess most people thought to the action. For us, OB-10 fact, of course, we also had O2 still in theater then at O1s, but the OB-10 and especially the paid mail, kind of a game changer for us because they had special nav equipment, they had Moran, they had the good laser detection, and they could get precise locations of survivors, and quite often they would lead it out to the our area, so that was really a good deal for us. So for Skyraider, we'll talk about the different kinds of Skyraiders we had, but the H&J is a thing with leader for what we use for escorts. Kind of, I think that's a Navy term, kind of a abbreviation of rescue escort, but that's so fierce. So we were on scene commanders, taking over from whoever might have been on scene, whether it be a wingman or a FAC. And we were calling the shots, quite literally. And Ron mentioned quite correctly that the survivor was a part of that task force. Clearly, we wouldn't have been there if he wasn't there, but there's many survivors that I helped take out that did the heavy lifting and did exactly what we asked, and were very aware of a threat, helped us to locate the threat around them, and actually facilitated their rescue. When I look at the THARs that I've built, and I'll give you some of my pearls of wisdom that actually I learned mission to mission, nothing that I knew. I always used everything I learned, and it really worked out well. Keep running curve. Next slide. There's lots of people know there wants to make a noise like a 3350 dart. Loud noise.
Still there, Adam. Relation up.
If that doesn't get your heart pumping, I don't know what.
Nothing like the sound of anyone starting up.
All right, here's Southeast Asia. And in green, this again is my first phase of missions I flew. Others have gone other places, but as you can see, I flew pretty much the full north and south length of Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and it's a Gulf Tuck, and the little lope that comes north of the Dien Bien Way, it's our India orbit over the Gulf with 2 Jolly, 2 A1 open that nobody went down, and during my time, nobody ever went down. The idea was that we would dash in and rescue them and then get tail out of there, but that never happened while I was there, and I don't believe it did afterwards. The Navy had their carriers out there, so we had somewhat overlapping coverage with them. Just on one anecdotal note, on one day I did a tour up near Hanoi. We'll talk about that one. We got back and landed. Nimrod Smith and I deployed to Benoit to go be Sandy Alert down there. So that was quite a turnover from one day to the next. I don't know if you remember that, Rob, but that was quite an interesting period of time. All right, next slide. Let's look at the numbers. You know, there was no shortage of rescue opportunities, and it was a survivor-rich environment, lots to be sure. These are fixed-wing aircraft only, the numbers. You can see the year and the lot that as they accumulate up through the early years, 61 to 3 of 4, the Skyraiders entered service with the 602nd Fighter Squadron Commander on the first APF at Benoit, 64. And very quickly, and maybe John's already briefed you, Colonel Larson was leading the first group of Sandies up to where? It was very far. And they flew with search and rescue, usually Pedros and different pickup platforms, picking up guys during linebacker. But look at the losses. 55, 375, 580 at 66, 55 at 67. My God, juice. It's unimaginable. And as we had a lull after Rolling Thunder, tapered out 71, nothing going up north at all. Later on in the year, toward the end of the year, we were doing some protective reaction type stuff, but the lot has dropped significantly until linebacker kicked in 1972. So from March roughly to the end of July, actually there were losses upside. 80% of the losses during that year were during those 4 or 5 months during first, the build up to the invasion, linebacker, and then the actual invasion, and a lot of things happening there. And of course, we extended on into 73 when most of us were there with them, and that was the A7 taking over search and rescue and number of Jockway dams. And so, 3,322 airplanes down on the ground with a lot of people wanting to get picked up. So look from Kritos book. For those of you who don't know, Vietnam Aircraft Losses is now a website that you can do searches. If you know of somebody that was shot down and want to look up a specific thing, you can look on the internet. And for those of us that operated as far as they're looking for corrections, if you see something that's not wrong on that, you can make an input and they will correct that data set. That's basically the data that is in his printed book. All right, so let's look at linebacker, a little bit closer look, and I think Randy will be talking about that in a little bit greater detail. There were 100 moleskin aircraft lost in sea, as I've indicated up above, in 71, 308, virtually triple that number of 72. But again, those numbers crucially happened in the March, April, May, and June timeframe. The bulk of them, that's who we were most busy. Unfortunately, that happened during the dry season where we didn't have a lot of weather to deal with, although there was some. But it worked out for us, and our guys, it worked out really well. Obviously, a different paradigm from what happens today. We get lose 1 or 2 airplanes per score, which are smaller long, but of course, that's today and that was then and this is now. Just a real quick thing on command and control. We had 2 different numbered air forces at Thailand bait that had to deal with 13th Air Force at Clark, the Vietnam bait that principally to Nang, taken off for Ben Loft, then 7th Air Force. So the SAR coordinators had 2 different numbered air forces. Maybe on the same day, if you got at that down in both, and it cut a great deal of confusion. The Joint Rescue Coordination Center was at Tan Son Nhut the entire war. The RCC, the Rescue Coordination Centers for Air Force. So it's first at Udo, and then it moved during 72 when we were working really busy. It moved to NKP, which made our local coordination a lot easier. Of course, maybe Triple C K when we were there was uncorrupt. Next slide. Good about the picture on the right. Sorry, that was Roger Youngblood sitting in the cockpit. Crew Q standing on the nose, having a look at him. That's a great shot of the airplane. Looks a lot sleeker in that picture than it does. Command and control. You should have a third attachment command and control slide with a smiling me. So you do get to after all, but this is a little bit ago. Outset elite of the deployment leak up the fit in the back, and Sandy 2, what's the driver on this still operation we had. You can see the modern facility we have for our haulers. Get connected, surrounded by 55-gallon trucks full of sand, and then sandbags on the top. And the ladder you see there went to the suntanning facility up on the top. Next slide. All right. A quick look at the platforms through time. The Pedro started out 64 to 65, so a lot of Rolling Thunder pickups during that. Those guys are crazy. They had the flight mechanic in the back with 55-gallon drums of gasoline pumping it into the fuel as the aircraft consumed it. And they also had pre-positioned landing sites up north in northern Laos, so they could refuel. Those guys are crazy. Albatross, almost as crazy. Those guys with a water attack, DN off their orbit point off of the Gulf and Tompkin in toward the sampans that were reefing towards the virus that had been shot down. And they're helped to hell they could get back out again. That was interesting times for them, I'm sure. We graduated that to BH-3 Jolly Green, BH-3 converted to be irrefuelable. A lot of you guys think the Themi type frame, that's what you worked with, and those guys did good work. A lot of heroes in that crowd also. For us, it was strictly SA-63s, again, air refuelable, a little bit faster. In fact, they'd outrun an A1. I was there, and I found do it. And once they pull a collective, you're not going to climb with an HH-53, and we'll talk about that a bit. Next slide. All right, here's what the rest of our fitness was all about. Dealt without its hazards. I beat the Navy, had that built just to be easily followed World War II, first operational cruise in 1947. So I had plenty of experience before their war in Korea, the extensive war in Korea, the AD-4s. Newer versions were built, and the Navy continued to fly them, including in Vietnam. Once 1968 rolled around, we had a lot of two-seaters, as I said, from 64 all the way to the end. But the single-seaters, the 18J didn't show up until late 67, early 68. We got a lot of them, and those were a godsend for us. But also a big storm in our ability to go do search and rescue. But like I said, not without its cost. 202 Skyraiders lost. That's by one count. I think it was actually higher than that because there were training losses. There were losses of Skyraiders on the ground for different reasons. 102 pilots either MIA or KIA. The number is broken down by year, and that's pretty much that. Year off, please. At Reggie, the numbers were pretty high. 29, 42. Justine, a drop for some reason there at 67, but back again to 38. Once we got the Pleiku crowd operating out of doing SOC support, they were doing a lot of good work, and their losses were pretty high, so that was added. By 1968, we had 4 total Skyraider squadrons to Vietnam, about 140 airplanes at any one time, and eventually that shrunk down to 1 squadron at the very end. When I was there, the first FOS was the last squadron standing. So 1971 and 2, the years I was there, I guess they're in October, so not all 9 of those happened when I was there, but all 9 happened in 72 when I was there, and of the 9 airplanes we lost, and 1 pilot killed. Not a bad average, but it sucked. It was a wake-up call, and we knew the war was on, and I think we all became better after that happened. All right, a little bit about the Navy. Yeah, they were flying up carriers at the boat and their water and spinning his props to humidity. And the Chunduck airplane was one of the last 19 Skyraiders in our squadron. I flew it. A few other guys that were there when I was probably flew that. One of our 5 J-model aircraft, 122-028. The newest Skyraiders were built in 57, so that tells you how much it. Though when we were flying them at 72, they're only 15 years old. Shit, we got airplanes now like F-16 that are 30 years old. So I guess I don't get it. Oh well. So maybe they were newer as we thought. Next slide. A bit of a look at the early Skyraiders, the ones that ended up flying the Rolling Thunder. It's a neat picture because that they're flying is actually an American airplane with BNAV markings. Their reasonable goal was, on paper, to train the BNAV pilots to fly the A1. But really what was happening is we had Americans flying in the left seat. We had advisors or observers, not advisors. Elko did not speak English in the right seat, and that was to carry forth the group, and that facade that it was bitten me their planes doing this bombing, but it was really Americans. This kind of ended their route, I think, in the late 65 time frame, where they no longer had to have a person they were ready to be. Some things were art, but they weren't even Air Force guides. And so I'm sure there's a lot of stories that you guys could tell about experiences flying you guys that might not have ever flown before. It doesn't sound like a fun time. So the A1E and G, we later caught with the Cascades. I guess we had nothing to compare it to in the early days. So you guys probably didn't use that term at all, but it had a wider profile because of side-by-side seating. But clearly, for those of you that pull a tooth here, it's harder to look up the right side of your left seat. We thought that's good tactically, and it kind of inadvertently forced us into flying left-hand patterns, which is always the best way to remain unpredictable. But that problem went away with the A1H. Next slide. I'm going to later. I'm going to A1E. The A1E at one of our guys, the young guy by the name of Lieutenant Tex Brown, was flight that they're playing at the Air Force photo. He loaded with 6 Mark 82 going north up into the barrel. I remember the previous like. Yeah, there's the court putting back put on these guys up north. Well, we all use the SSR wet heated. We working on that flight is because we didn't have enough H's.
So every once in a while they would get put on our mission, but not us. That was good. This.
We did have one model that they're flying that had no controls of the right feet, and that was the worst experience of my life. Ever to fly the right feet on a combat mission with no way to do anything but duck your head. All right. Oh, are count us with 2A1 flying over the Lake Hawk?
Yes.
All right, good. As I said, is 68 the Navy was done. They converted their squadrons, their attack squadrons, to the D6 usually, and they made these all available. They were modified from the time we got our hand on them until they went through modifications at Sacramento Air Material Area at Holland. About 9 months before they'd be deployed to sea, but it worked fine. And the biggest modification made with the ink extraction system, and maybe Randy can tell you about that later. It's got first-hand experience. Extremely good. It has some grody pains in the beginning where there were some things that didn't get done right. Pins in the wrong position, whatever. Well, we were there all bumper out every brace. All right, this is what the flight ramp at KP looked like in 68. Ken, this is at KP. We got probably 24 planes at Pleiku. So yeah, that's kind of what it was. No weapons. We were not, even though we were very close to the Lancashire border, didn't feel like there was any need to have revetment. So what we were there, there were some revetments. We had our airplanes in, so all of ours were revetted at that point. Next slide. All right, let's talk about the A1. Start focusing in on why it was so good at what it did. And it was good. Relatively long legs for an unrefueled airplane, 5 hours, nominally 1,000 pounds per hour. I'm sure some guys have flown longer. My longest mission was a 5.4, but I didn't have a whole lot of outgas left. I landed. We carry more external fuel and internal, 2,000 internal and 3,000 external, 300 gallon center line and at about 150 on the right node. We were slow, and yet that is an attribute. Guys that have flown the Hog or want to, that they can relate to that. But as slow as they are, we were about 100 knots slower, if not more, in everything we did. We took off about 120, cruised at 140, delivered at 150 if we could get it, and then from that on, it was probably down lower than that. Tickle used to call that trolling. It wasn't trolling. We were bone staff, but we could jump. All right, we make shit. Not high caliber AAA, but yeah, take K-47 hit when I talked about having that. I know Randy came back with it all in the prop at one point and didn't know it till he landed, and God knows where the round one. It took top up to bit on the bottom of his spin cycle rather than top where it might have entered his work area. People said this, yeah, we're talking 50 technology, so it was solid tech. Oh, it did 4 radios, VHF, AM and FM. We has HS, kill them use. We listen to some music every once in a while. And what else do we have? I get up there. And our state-of-the-art got light. We used it for a lot of people. Once you're down low, it didn't come into play very much for dropping ordnance when you're at 100 feet or 50 feet above the treetop. The bite cap doesn't go low enough. You just wait till the power goes below your heels, get pickled. That thing to work. Next time. Let's take a quick look at the straps from really the whole era. The only thing different from it, from maybe a fly for 65 would have been the addition of the At-7, which I'll talk about in a bit. Area threat, again, didn't exist down south. It was only when we went north. MiG 17, 19, and 21. The ground to air threat, At-2s, I saw one much. I think it was at the big cap about this. We were down low, so I wasn't afraid on that particular time, but, you know, cut them and happy, I think is what they call that. The At-7 was a different story, though. That is perhaps of only two failures that I am aware of either, mostly after that. This was greatest because it showed up in theater and actually downed airplanes before Intel even knew it was there. and of course we didn't either. So, but we did after that, and we had a lot of angst. And, some of us thought, hey, it's game over. We can't do our fishing anymore. But turned out we could. We did one modification with our load, which we'll talk about on the upcoming slide. But a long and short of it, we got a 224 flare pause mounted in place of the minigun and rigged the flares to ignite instantaneous on coming out of the back. And that theoretically would decoy the state rabbits. And I don't know of anyone that used that successfully to decoy a missile, although I could be wrong. AAA AK-47 through 100, so we didn't worry about anything really about the 57 or above the 23, but the rest could be deadly depending on where you were. We were always, once we got in the target area, in the envelope for AK-47. And there were a lot of them out there. Everybody had one. A 12-7. Don't worry about a higher caliber, high rate of fire, twin barrel. They used tracers, so we usually knew when they were around, especially if it's early morning or late in the afternoon, the tracers showed up, and that was that, hey, we got us right here. But what we didn't know is the 14.5 didn't have tracers, so with the higher rate of fire, a quad 14.5 millimeter, high transmission rate. Yeah, I think I don't know the numbers. It'd be high much now.
What mosses were attributed to, but I would say that's up there. It's not on top of the list
with any of the others. I cooked 23 millimeter on there because quite often we were down low enough, but they moved south enough that they were around. And they refused to ever, usually well above our altitude, but that is what actually brought down the Confinus Utak. Comes some out in later, but I think it was a direct hit. It looked to me like, and what they found when they recovered the wreckage, that there was fragments in the airplane, and that's what took him down. Well, let's look at the load. This is a good profile on the back ramp of a AK-53, and we'll go one at a time. We should be on the Bandy Ordnance Club side, and there's going to be a build here, so we'll just go to the first one. 11 minigun, we talked about that. We did lose that toward the end of the experience over there, but for all the mission, this stayed on. And it ran 7.62 millimeter, high rate of fire, very good for in-close work. Flanked by two M3 cannons in the wake, spinning its waves of either side. We fired those in pairs. Growing pays with that in the beginning. There were percussion pride, 20 millimeter ammo, a lot of hard fibers, a lot of jams. Actually, some gun explosions early on, but through a series of modifications, they were able to reduce that. So, like I said, we fired these in pairs. You could fire all four, but we usually wanted to all save something for on the way home as things happened. A relatively full rate of fire, but adequate for the for what we had to do. Next slide. So now we got outboard Lao 68 Willie Treats. Again, this is the Sandy look from 1872, probably different from some of you guys remembered from your time. But they were marking rockets that we used to keep out the tropics. The fact back in anybody who showed up, and if we didn't happen to have a fact handy, that one of the other Skyraider in the Thar Task Force could put in either diversionary strikes or strikes to kill guns using the marking rockets that we had. Next slide. Outboard from that, we had on either side. As you can see, the outer 6 stations on each wing are symmetrically loaded. We'll talk about the asymmetry of the other here in bed. But, isn't it? Now these were used usually early in the Thar. At least my preference was to use them to kill anything that would take easy to do in an area. Unless it presented Boston, just on the FT2 job as we pulled off. The thing is that fortune broke that fragile pairing the nose cone, then the drag was noticeably greater. So if you were just shooting off two at a time, which the Linktree could do, certainly, it made for a lot of drag. And so that was my technique. I don't know about the other guys, may have had other techniques, but I chose to do that. Next slide. Now, as you look at the bottom, we had two AN-47 100-ton white phosphorus bombs. They could be dropped arm, and they would detonate on impact and ignite whatever was in the vicinity. Good for military fortified facilities, aka, which is thing that was burned, or trucks or whatever was flammable. It was very good ordnance, that easy to drop, and we could be pretty accurate with those. We could use it armed or safe. If we dropped it safe, it would hit the ground and with smoke for maybe up to an hour. And we use that for marking IPs for helicopters, or marking a position we wanted to come back to as a reference point. And that worked out quite well within that method. Next slide. Now we get out to the CBUs on the three outer wing stations that we twang. The inboard header were CBU 22. They had smoke bombers, and you could set up a ripple, sable, and sequence and drop a lengthy smoke screen that we used to screen off threat that we either couldn't kill or thought there might still be a threat based on the geography of the situation. And so though each SAD we had 2 pods, so we could drop a very good smoke screen. We had to be very aware of the wind direction, obviously, and didn't want to be smoking us the pickup area and stalling the rescue attempt. All right, the last we had a total of 4 TPU 25 pods that they center. And again, these dissenters were not dropped until they were empty. You'll see in the picture coming up, the bomblets came out the back, so you could set the pods either to ripple, label for, they were always rippling out of the pod, or you could set up a total salvo out of the pod. So either way, but normally we wanted max flexibility, and that's something about the armament system was very flexible, even though it was not technologically advanced. They could make us give us the chance to do a lot of things. Another neat thing is you could look out the window of the airplane and see what was left on the airplane, and that's not always you could get any other airplane. So, next slide. Here's a close look at the payload, and we'll kind of fast forward a little bit here to this, but this from what your eyes. Next to the 738 is a BPF Peter 211 minigun pod. Next to that is the Lao 68 Willie Pete, the Lao 3, which is the 90 Todd rocket launcher, the CBU-22, and then 2 cans of CBU-25 on the outboards. Next slide. Same ordnance review. This shows how the little pod did a metal thing that burst open when you pulse the pickle button, which allows a spring-loaded ejection of the CBU bomblets. Baseball size for the CPU 25s, and armed when they spun up and hit ground. There was an older version of CPU 25 that had like a pineapple with pins that flipped open, that when they hit through the canopy, they often would detonate prematurely before they even got to the ground, but also they might not detonate at all, and then they were used for booby traps by the Vietcong, and so that was not something that was good. So they changed out in the early 70s as the lead time frame as the baseball kind of format. Next slide. All right, here's a piece of ordnance that really is ordnance. Although we did drop it off the airplane, called the Madden kit. Pilot by the name of Jim Bad Dog Bat was the developer that he thought about it after having phoned the SAR where a survivor's batteries ran out his radio and they could not pick him up. And so they said, hey, we need a way to get things to a survivor, whether it be water, whether it be battery, an extra radio, whatever. And so this was infrequently, I'll say, loaded on a Sandy mission in case it was needed. I never did deploy one, although I could carry one, but others in the room may have, so they might want to add their experience with those. Next slide. All right, here we go. Timeless lessons that be to buy. First to last, no particular priority, but when you're a standing pilot, they can jump at pilot at all. Expected, because if you think things are going the way that you plan, that take again. I can't imagine how it is you guys flying when you get into your fancy 21st century jets with all the data that you've got the information overload. We thought we were saturated, that we were flying, but nothing compared to what you had. In a way, that's maybe a good thing. Like we're up there, we had plenty of time to think and plan our mission as we're droning along at almost 3 miles a minute up to the SAR area. So that's one of the benefits. Hope for the best? Yeah, we all did that, but you better expect it isn't going to go that way. So have plan B, C, and D, right? Well,
Yes, sir.
guys have been take charge, you know. It's rather intimidating for a guy like me. All the other first lieutenants in our squadron, Tex, Lance, and Randy, got all the guys that were lieutenants. You know, you'd say, okay, yeah, I'm not the commander, but I got a major on my wing, and there's Colonel, whoever out there, standing free. Bullshit doesn't matter. You got to be your man that go do it. And that's what I learned real quick. It'll be indecisive. If you got to get an opinion, ask for it, but move on. Don't people pay it. Both. If everything you go with the best available knowledge at the time, coupled with what you feel is the situation, it may not be factual, but it may be something that saves somebody, and I'll talk about that more in a bit. Okay, waymen are great, but you know, if you assume he's gonna do what he's supposed to do, he might be out of luck. So you better. And I've been a wayman, so maybe I was in that category too. But you gotta have a plan, good briefing, good sound execution, and a better debriefing. Because if you don't debrief mistakes, nobody's gonna learn. Checklists are great for a lot of things. Now, for SAR necessarily, you gotta memorize the steps that you gotta do and those 5 things I talked about. They don't go away. But this is not a checklist mission. You gotta be ready to pick out as a pie, modify as necessary, and get the job done. Kane, I hope no Kane guy for the audience, but you know, they riding sideways, drinking coffee at the best place, you know, to really getting their head in the game. Not sure. Yeah, there were times when they did good things, other times not so much. So again, I've got an example, I'll tell you about that. Again, Jolly Greens. There's a very comforting feeling having 2 HH-53 flying along with you up there. You know damn well it was going to get picked up first if all of us went down. So I love that. Next slide. All right, here we go. Here's your specific mission. Some of you, they're real slow nowadays, so, you know, did you both your flags ready? But this is how I remember it, how I'd written about this mission in my comment journal. This happened 18th and 19th of March of 72. The airplane was boss of the OB-10 Frigate Nail. And what that is a modified OB-10 track airplane that had a laser pod and other modified equipment that gave it a great, they were marking for laser-guided bombs from the S-4 during the original deployment of LGDs. Calls right paid now, and so these guys are down. You got a pilot in the front, a system operator in the back, and most of these guys are down here in an area that we call the Tetrad net. And I got a map coming out that'll show it to you. Delta 47. We got Delta points that were good land references, each kind of significant, either Mount Peak or a river bend or something like that. That would be the spot for that we're flying without any GPS or. They hadn't even ascended that back then. Well, okay. That's the big shoot up-to-date thing for us. That was actually nothing that went longer than a day before this. This got real intense. We had an A1 start down, pilot rescued. We had 2 others seriously damaged. I got a picture coming out that shows that. Captain John Lackey, the pickup leader of the lot, they again bunkered to the cub. Or no, he not. Okay, sorry. That was on John Lackey's wing. So a great man to have along. John Mackey was awarded the first crop for that mission. That, for me, was my first look at big AAA. Kind of the deceptive stage. I was a wingman. I was Fanny 8 at Da Nang. The Fanny came out of NKP, first of all, and Ron, I think you came out of AKP also, and you were maybe first storing the helicopters, I believe. I don't know. But pretty soon it came time for you to be the lieutenant in the area. We got launched. Bert was my flight lead. I came out of command within the Sandy 8, and we arrived just in the perfect time to grab the helicopters, bring them in, and execute. This was... I'll talk more about this on the next slide, but I always thought this was better to be lucky than good. But here we go. This is the catcher's net. You can see why it's so named with the shape of the bend of the river. These Russian gal are about to be, even in March, were heavily used now for the preparation to the invasion of of South Vietnam. It wasn't just across the B&B, it was also down the trail in from the west through Cambodia. And so that's what we ran into. The little red dots you could see are the two survivors' locations approximately. We're 90 nautical miles east, northeast of Luan, about 100 from KP, about a little bit more to Penang. So we're kind of in the middle of all those areas. So what we ended up doing is the helicopter that we were holding to the southwest. I could be wrong on that, but when the time came to execute, we brought them in at Western Code. The smoke screen was put down. Burker and I got into the daisy chain with Ron. I don't remember who your way back was, Ron. Do you remember that?
Scotty.
Okay. Randy Scott was wingman, so we get in the daisy chain. It seemed like it took forever, but it's probably only less than 5 minutes that we got both survivors on board. And at that time, I was in the bottom of a daisy chain path, headed east. The Jolly Green was hovering face west, and so he got the hell out of there like he was directed to do with both survivors on board. I fed the Skyraider around, dumped all my airspeed, so now I'm down probably around 110. I waddle up to beside the helicopter barely at Eco's Collective, and I'm down, maybe 500 feet above the trees, and he's disappearing up in the blue. So that looked a little embarrassing, but it is what it is. I started looking around for the Skyraiders, and eventually I spotted some, and I joined on somebody's wing and went home. Awesome mission. This is the way I planned it. All right. Next slide. I think we'll all questions until the end, but there's specific things you want to... Anybody, what do you want to do? Like, I can't see you, so I don't know. What for you? All right. Here's the airplane that Don Dilder was flying. What you're looking at is the right flap on the upper right corner. You can see that big hole in that. That most likely, I believe, was a 23 millimeter round that detonated after it went through the flaps for shredder or covering the whole aft fuselage, the shrapnel. Despite that, something was damaged. He came back and landed gear down, no problem. There's not a whole lot of things back there. The fuel cells are way up forward, just behind the cockpit, armored. And so, I guess we're lucky to have this airplane back. That was one of our newer A1Hs, and it was recorded too again. I flew that even after that mission. All right, it's the next star. This was, I think, like our day 3, your day 3, so it must have been Eddie Weasel said, down, north, not too far from Hanoi, about, less than 30 miles, west Hanoi in the high ground. I'll show you back here the best. The Frontier, I believe, was picked up early in his shoot down. The backseater was debating, and Title Mike, Captain Don Morse was the flight lead. I was number 2. We were orbiting on alert and moved on up into the area, bringing the helicopters with it. The truck was down by Sam, as I said, on the 11th. We were on the second day, so this was late in the evening, I believe. So we are talking to the survivor on the ground, and then before things got a little tangled, flight lead Dunmore couldn't talk to the survivor, so I was talking to the survivor on Fox Mike. Don retained the lead, and we were communicating. Don could hear you could hear me on Fox Mike, but not the survivor, so things got really mixed up. Again, we were about an hour 20, hour 15 from NKP, so we burned a lot of gas going up, and we know we got to have that same amount of gas going home. So it makes that to happen quickly. We were running out of time, but finally we did locate the survivor. Couldn't report any ground fire next to us or near us, and so we decided to execute. And we call the helicopters, and they're on the tanker. We just know that. So that's wrong. We screwed up. Every Sandy 1, 2, 3, 4 had the different mission, but some not overlapping mission. Sandy 1, locate the survivor, talks to the survivor, coordinate his recovery, authenticate, and Sandy 2 should be working with the helicopter, finding out what their availability is, when they're going to the tanker. None of that happened because we had partially switched assignment, but we didn't switch leads, and then I believe what we should have done. Had I been leading, our company would have done the phase A's or not throwing rocks at Samuel Mike. But the end result is that we didn't know that the helicopters were on the tanker, so we could not execute. And by now we're running out of gas or get home, got to head home, and so we did that. I had a flight off and on when I was working this, so that obviously was a little consternation also. Well, as soon as possible for me would have been at the airfield around Hanoi, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that. And so at the death on, it went off, and now Bob was to go home. All right, be decisive, and I don't know, in contact. It's really stick with the plan, and if you need a change lead, do so. And that's, I think, may not have resulted in a successful rescue, but I believe that was one of the reasons why we weren't able to get him out. So here's the map, Hanoi. Oops, go back. I'll go back. Not only 30 mile dot up until Foothill here. We had the helicopters back down here on the lower left holding. This, for some of you guys that know, District Banana Valley here, Black River, Bud Ridge, come out of here. So we're in bad guy territory. This is not friendly territory, obviously. Icebag was in the high ground here, and you can pin the roads where there's roads, there's little villages. So yeah, we weren't alone. 207 miles from home. There's a tape of the pickup on Skyraider.org. If you're interested in the let into that. So, up for one on that one. Next slide. Bowleg 02, 20 May 72. Some guys in that picture. This is the survivor. Second from the, on our left is John Markle, a F-4 pilot that's rescued on Nithar. The day before, or maybe 2 days before, he killed a bear. He's from the Triple Nickel. Today, not so much. But some days you shoot the bear, if the bear gets you, whatever it is. Good day to be a survivor rather than a killer. Well, we got some notables here. Lieutenant First Lieutenant, they're at my First Lieutenant Hookie, Tex Brand, and Franz Smith. Great photo. Ever on the point line after we got Barry. Interesting side note on that from Ron's presentation about Oyster. Roger Walker told me that he listened on his survival radio to both the Icebag SAR and the Bowleg SAR. So he knew that we were going north, and he knew we were able to get, a Tarta to get him out. So that did have a lot of hope. We heard, I believe, Ron, correct me on this, because I know what happened that I thought it was under mission. Bowleg 02 Bravo and Alpha talking under survival radios, and I believe what we heard was, as we were coming closer and closer, we heard Bravo tell the Alpha that they're coming after me, it got me. Yeah, ring a bell.
Yeah, the technology-wise, that's one of the things we really would have loved or had is some way to record, because we heard him say something, and it was high-pitched voice, very rapid, and I asked him to repeat, and he never came back up again. He spent the next 6 months in Hanoi. If we had a recording, we would have been able to play that back and figure out what he was talking about. Just simple thing like that. Really,
I heard him say that maybe you're fishing in the bar to a train or whatever, but another interesting thing that...
Yeah, I hope you were forgetting to say you were bingo fuel at the time.
Oh, no. Yeah. Came later. Gonna be. The airplane I flew on this was 139-665. The tail cowling marking was Proud American, and this airplane actually was recovered and restored, and it's flying at one of the two active A1Hs at the Tennessee Museum of Aviation. So if you ever want to see an A1H Skyraider fly, you go there. There's another one in Dallas, and they have been on the airshow circus, which has been curtailed a bit by COVID, but yeah, there's a chance to go see them and hear it fly. Roger, from after that, quickly we'll fast forward a little bit. Again, a little bit west, Christian, we're putting my corners where Icebag was, so I had been in the area just a few days earlier, and now Bowleg is a little bit further away, so, we figured we had pretty good, decent chance to get him, and of course we did get 1 and 2. Again, the same landmarks. Yeah. Okay, then as we come out, I guess I might have had my power up a little high. You know how it goes. You got to go faster you can. And so I come out of there and well, on the little boat they go. I don't know. Really below Bingo, I think is the way it turned out. One of those things, this situations where you decide, do I want to climb as high as I can in case I run out of gas, but then you use more power. So I cleared the wing literally at full dock, everything, including the Su-11 minigun, and so much cleaner. And so we did a little bit of a cruise climb, came back, they closed both runways, taxiway, and I landed in that 10 gallons left. So anyway, not to. So Brett, where he must be on the ground to walk home of that. It's all right, neck bite. All this bitter dear in my heart when I felt like I said some of my pet work, 12 June 72. I'm QUI at Penang with Gene Barnall, at 77 to 78. That trooper, the first cab out of Way Pubai was hitting Amber. The day prior to this, they had 2 other helos shot down with 5 guys lost. The day that we flew on the 12th of June, they had a moat shot down that were looking for the other guys. Talking about southwest away, not very far inland up the coast, maybe about 15 to 20 nautical miles along the Corbiette River, and I'll show you a map here in this. The thing is, we did not have contact with the quote-unquote survivor. We didn't even know it was a survivor yet, but the fact that was on station
Recorded getting mirror flashes, and this backs up very well assertion, which is absolutely correct, that for single mirrors, the safest and best, given that proper weather conditions, the best signaling device you could ever have. That's survivor, know how to use it, and that's exactly what stayed this guy's line. The last thing here I'll talk about, I'll just sit down here in a bit, but you got to trust your instincts, but you better not dap it up if couldn't if you're on that all shit can break loose. The survivors located along this river, right here at the crash site, right next to the rear, high terrain here. And on the other side of this small ridge, the Ghost White the day before, the Ghost can also shot down, and so these guys has their hips full. We actually got traveled early from Da Nang, but Sasalit got it under control while he didn't. So we did get traveled, ultimately went up and talked with a couple of cubby facts, and that's when they told us that they've got mirror flashes. I went down and looked at it, and now we're talking about everybody territory. You did. All right. That big photo airport fire, watch the launches, call them out to fall. Oh, and thunderstorms, they might go.
It may go to damn it. Like I reckon you lose there. We're all sitting, but hopefully you'll worse. So we worked here about 15-20 minutes. I was taking some ground fire on the ridge to the south in this area. Both Gene and I pushed that as best we could. And I believe what was happening is that troops that had been partially around this area were now moving across the ridge down toward the action now. And that's usually what happened by SAR. Jolly Green holding down here, maybe a little bit further. I've got it depicted to be pretty close. Perhaps she was out here, but not over the locales. I think that theoretically friendly territory, but during this time frame, we never knew what was friendly and what wasn't. But this looked the highest ground book safe, so talk to him right there. Here's what I believe is going out. I haven't talked to him. I haven't authenticated him. It could be a trap, but we're going to, if you agree, I'd like to go in and try a pickup. And he said, we'll follow you. Let's go. So they agreed with my plan. We went line of route rather than perhaps one guy going in and had guns armed, pointed toward the target area in case it was trapped. We both put down smoke screens on either side, the wind allowing that, and so we were able to shield the helicopter. He came in, found the survivor pretty quickly. Of course, no smoke was caught because he wasn't able to communicate with us. But they went to either side. That was smoldering, so there was that reference point. A relatively quick pickup, but he did have a PD on the ground. It was badly burned. The other occupants in the airplane died in the crash. The Gulf crash landed. The airplane rolled over the front seat or the left seat. I'm not sure. I believe it was the Spec 4 Army guy there in the pile within on the right side. It's because they do that. And He crawled away from the wreckage, but the other man was trapped. Just as a side note, the river has since been dammed at about this location, so this is a huge reservoir. And so any remains over here are no longer are available to be recovered. And then that's the sad part about that story. That man is going to be MIA forever. All right. Now what? Sorry, but take sorry, echo. Are you coming with you? That's how I started out as a wingman. I was flying with guys we call fighter merch. Joe Sites was Sandy lead. I was Sandy wingman. I don't remember my exact call sign on this one, but the whole thing started was a Navy SA Nickel 102 being shut down just north of the north end of Ashaw Valley. Red Clevenger and Text. I think you were on that star. Is that right?
Yeah, me and Mass.
Oh, you? Okay.
Weren't you at us and weren't you with him?
There somewhere, but
After 15 years, he remembers.
Larry Highfield, 97, and Tim Brady, 98, showed up on scene. We're also assisting and trying to affect the same. If I think you actually tried to pick up but got shot off, as I understand. Ryan, in the aftermath of that, Larry and Sandy Seven and Tim Brady were running low on gas and were essentially they go fuel flying back over the Ashaw through broken cumulus. Sometimes seeing the girls, sometimes not. And the next thing we hear is Highfield saying, "Hey, this is Sandy Seven. I've hit. I'm getting out." And Tech was looking at him with the eyes bigger than Proctor's, saying, "Oh shit, what do I do now?" They didn't really know where typically they were, but they knew they needed to get it. So Tim Brady proceeded to the west or east to clear the valley as they could. And Larry, Larry Highshell, Joe Sight, my flight lead, and I were monitoring this on the radio, so we heard that. So we were originally told you proceed to the 9 to replace 7 and 8 and be on alert, but we were now directed to go directly to the bar area. So we got into the area. We had the Navy on guard calling for Nickel 102, as they want to do. They use guard a lot. I think the Thorn was being run on guard at that point. So we respectfully asked to say shut up and get off the radio so we can wear semi-that with us. As rule one is you take the guy that's been on the ground the shortest amount of time, and of course that was at this point Bandy 7. So what happened now is that Joe Sykes has an engine problem. We're up running engines. We've got a couple of Sandies off the coast that come in and escort him back to the name. And I'm not sure I understand why or how this all happened, but I ended up staying out there alone because I wanted to find Sandy Samus, and I jumped across the valley to the other side, and pretty soon I could talk to him and he could direct me toward his position, and I finally found it. But it's now getting late at noon. We don't have enough time to do another pickup attempt, and we all end up RTBing. And so we go to the 9, all of us that were participants. We've got Red Clevenger, Tech. You said you were there. You got Tim Brady and myself. And so our plan is to yell the next day and get both guys out if we can't. And so that was our brief plan. We got the Sarcon Bulge, and theoretically the King guys should have known about that. And so we were up late playing it. And we had a fact, L43, actually was a classmate of mine in the Aplanary program before I went to A1s, was familiar with the area. He was TUI from NKP. He actually babysat as much as he could overnight. The survivor, we put him to bed and told him he'd be there first place. So the next day, and I think we have, look forward to the, no, I don't have a map, so go back again, if you would, to the previous slide. We planned to take up. The lineup was going to be Sandy 1 through 4 all together as a 4-ship. I was the flight lead, going to get Larry first. I was the only one that saw his position on the ground. Tim Bree was Sandy 2. He had seen roughly where Larry had got shot down, so he was my wingman. Rick Clevenger was Sandy Free. And I thought it was UTEC, but at 34 on that. So the plan was we would go for it, get Larry, then switch roles between 1, 2, and 3, 4. And then Tip and I had the new hide daddies would escort the jollies, and Redman, who had seen Nickel 102's position, would take over at that part. So that's what we did. We went in and got Larry pretty quickly. Not too much gunfire, absorb a little, but we were able to get Larry up pretty quickly. The helicopter went out. The other helicopter, they traveled pairs, like the Sandys did, came in and became the biggest pickup bird for the second one. We moved north, contacted Nickel 102 quite quickly. Whatever trap was there before was no longer there. Worked about 15 minutes, brought the helicopter in, picked him up. And so now we got Corey 1 and 2 helicopters, survivor on each of the helicopters when we go home. So in many ways, this is very deeds are for the reason that we picked out 2 guys because they're usually both guys out of the same airway. Here we got 2 guys from different services shot down on 2 different locations that got them both out. So we felt extremely happy about that. So what to let them? King, I forgot to say that King had wanted to take off the port, two ships. As we were tracking out about 3 hours prior to this for takeoff in the morning before dawn. And we said, no, it's not the way, you know. So we're good to keep raising up. We took off that before we breached.
All right, I think this is the last month that all street for and
We met her out there? No.
Yes.
Yeah, he's here. All right, good. Here we go. Valve 3 and 4. This is another interesting song. We were flying out work. I think it was going to Mike Bernie, and we're putting off the Hackers. Killed Gabe, the linebackers. We've got 2 F4s. We call it summer house. They were all around it. They were throwing the hot bring up through the back. And we're monitoring strings for Ika, and the next thing we hear are beepers and raised voices by the flight members, other flight members, saying that 2 F4s just out of midair. And so we were already close. We had only about a 15-minute run, maybe 20 minutes up to where very quickly we started to see the salt from the crash site very close together. In the meantime, we were asking permission of King to head north, and of course it always took them longer to do whatever polling they did inside the airplane to decide is this okay if we went north. So we went north, and by the time we got permission, we were virtually there. Now, had I known it was Meigs that shot these guys down at Notch midair, I may not have done that, but at the ones they were just doing ambush, 1 attack, 1 pass, go home and land, and repeat if necessary until done. So there we are. We see two craters. We start talking for the survivors. We got 2 guys down, 3 Alpha Bravo and 4 Alpha Bravo. And at one point, I was talking to all 4. But you'd say, okay, stand by, go to the next one, stand by. You go back, and then you start going around again. Pretty soon, you don't have Bravos of either airplane on the line anymore. I'm only talking to 3 Alpha and 4 Alpha. And so I say, okay, this is fucking good. I originally thought, oh, no problem, we'll get all 4 guys home, because now we'll bring them all be home by suffer. And it didn't happen. So we said, okay, we're taking what we could get. 3 Alpha was halfway up a sloping hillside in elephant grass. The parachute was down with him. We could see him from above, but nobody else could see him. When I looked up further up on the ridge, I saw parachutes pretty Bravo, the tree. Worst thing that could ever happen. And so the UIN guys come get me, and they did. Both Brazos went to jail. Both 3 Alpha and 4 Alpha were rescued. But my part of this was we went in and decided to get what we had, and that's 3 Alpha. We brought the helicopters in, took some ground fire from up each down in the low ground along the street, shot and set, got the man out on board, and headed the correct direction toward home. All but me. I roll all headed northeast, which is basically toward Candlelight, and I hear this radio call. Oh, turn right, start it, go the wrong way. This that's right, man. Is that an accurate quote? All right. Oh yeah, we get going home. We get out of there. On the way out, the other pages are coming in. It was Tim Hardy and maybe Randy Scott and 2 more helicopters coming in to clean up our Met, and they were able to get 4 Alpha out, but not easily. They had a PJ down on a cable. They had to cut the cable. They were taking ground fire. 4 Alpha was badly injured and needed help getting out. The other helicopter came in, got the boys up. They took ground fire. They had hits in their external tanks, so their stream of SULIB that came out. This whole SAR is written up by a guy by the name of Kevin O'Rourke, and the title is Taking Fire, the Rescue of Captain Aikman. If anybody's interested, that is available on Amazon. Yeah, okay, my lesson on this one, don't get greedy and take what you're given. Yeah, you get greedy, you're not going to get intake, so don't real happy about that. Well, that's it. Maybe too long, I don't know, but all of my missions are written about on the website you see on the screen, a-1combatjournal.com. All 100 clear your question by clue. Any questions, or do you want to go on to the next weasel?
No, well, I don't think we have time right now to go into questions, Hook, but I tell you, a lot of people, a lot of interesting stories, and